Hello dudes, welcome back to the mothership. I am so happy to be on my motorcycle right now. It has done nothing but rain like the entire month of July. So this is great. I'm very happy. So I had meant to get out and put a video out earlier, but you know, said rain kind of screwed up my ability to get out and ride. On the new Sportster, guys. So let's roll the intro and let's chat about this thing. Alright, so everybody knew this was coming, right? Harley Davidson Sportster, they were getting rid of the Evo line. They pretty much announced that that was happening, and we all knew that they were going to have to do something. To fill you in, if you're just catching up on this whole story, the European Union has environmental regulations that the current Sportsters, as of, you know, yesteryear, would have been in violation of and would not have been able to be sold in Europe. So, Harley had to do something. So they did what I kind of called when they came out to Pan America. They're going to basically take that motor and try and put it into a smaller frame and create the Sportster. And I'm not claiming like I'm an oracle. I think everybody knew that was going to happen. So fast forward to like 2 weeks ago, they announced it. I guess a week ago. It hasn't been that long. So let's do a quick recap of this bike, and I'll go through what I think is the good, the bad, and the ugly about this thing. So, the bike, what is it? Well, like I said, it's using that Revolution Max motor platform that they built the Pan America off of. It's not the exact same motor. I think just based on fitting the size of that motor onto the frame size they wanted, they had to shrink it down a little bit. So, how do we know this? Well, the Pan America is putting out 150 horsepower, and the Sportster S is going to be putting out 121, if I remember those figures correctly. So horsepower is down. Don't get me wrong, that's a massive, massive jump from the 1200s that Harley was making on the Evolution platform. Torque numbers, I believe I saw 94 foot-pounds of torque at 6,000 RPMs, which is a lot of torque for that bike. If you heard what I just said, you did hear that right. I said 6,000 RPMs. So what makes this motor very different than what we've seen in the past for the Sportsters, or even what I'm on right now, is these are high revving motors. I'm not going to pretend to comment on what that feels like to ride, since I have not ridden the Pan America yet, and I obviously haven't ridden these Sportsters. So I don't want to pretend like I know how it's going to feel. I'm sure it'll be a different ride. Based on it being a high revving motor, it's going to feel different than what we're kind of used to on the Sportsters. Good or bad, that's too early to tell, so I'm not going to guess. Alright, those are the basic specs. I think we can all tell it's going to be real fast. I mean, it's just the numbers alone of the horsepower and those torques. The fact that it's 50 pounds lighter, this comes in about 500 pounds wet versus 550, which is what like my 883 was with the 1200s. So it's going to be quick, I think. And this sucks. I'm going to be stuck behind trucks. It's going to be quick. So that's a good. Let's go through the goods. That is awesome. Technology. You know, I'm not the biggest. I'm not obsessed with technology on my bikes. I don't really care. It's kind of my with this minimalistic style bike, but I know some people really do care about that. And fortunately for them, this bike apparently, not the one I'm on currently, excuse me, the Sportster S, is stuck to the freaking gills with tech, right? So the most obvious one is that 4-inch screen in the front, which has navigation built in. It has different ride modes depending on, you know, rain or snow or whatever. Some custom ride modes that you can create. I don't know if this is fact, but I would assume the case since it's Bluetooth connected. I'm imagining you can change your music on there if you're connected to your phone. So all that's pretty cool. And it's something people have wanted on their Harleys for forever. Like I said, I don't really care, but some people do. So that's neat. Tech that you can't see that I think is actually way more beneficial than having a little, you know, electronic doohickey in front of you is all these bikes come standard with ABS, which every bike should come standard with ABS, in my opinion. This bike comes standard with cruise control, which is fantastic. I really wish that I had cruise control on this bike, so that's awesome. And it also comes standard with all LED lights, which is something that I don't know why Harley hasn't been doing it. It's not that expensive to put LED bulbs in your bikes. Just stop. So LED, something they should have always done. That's the good of this bike, okay? So we went through the fact that it's definitely going to be more powerful. It's going to be lighter. It's going to be, I'm sure, more nimble based on that. It has electronics out the ass. It's got, you know, cornering electronics, all kinds of cool stuff from that perspective. Now let's talk about the bad. And this is where I get a little more subjective. The bad. I don't like the way it looks. I mean, I'll be honest there. I really don't like the way this bike looks. Just like the Pan America before it, I think this is an ugly, ugly bike that Harley has created. It has promise. If you get rid of that that fat bob style light in the front, you know, the long square one, I'm not a big fan of that. Get rid of that, put some circular on there. Get rid of that exhaust, because I don't know what they're thinking with that exhaust. It's awful, and quite possibly will burn your leg on this side since it sits right here. But exhaust is awful. Don't like the front light. I'm sure both of those will be easily changed because, excuse me, that's like the best part about owning a Harley, right? If you went and bought an Indian or some other manufacturers, you're gonna have problems getting aftermarket parts. Initially, you'll probably have some problems because it's a new bike, new platform, but pretty quickly, manufacturers are gonna make all kinds of stuff for these bikes because that's, you know, that's Harley. There's always third-party support. So changing the exhaust won't be the end of the world. I just wish it didn't look so bad right off the bat. So that's the bad. Now let's talk about the ugly of this bike. And unfortunately, that would be the price. So this bike, if I remember my numbers correctly, is $14,350 if you want to buy a white or a red option. The black, I think, is $14,000. Yes, $14,000 for a Sportster, guys. That's so the Sportster line has, other than the street, I guess, has traditionally been the entry-level bikes for Harley Davidson. They've been the fun, more economical rides for people who wanted to ride a Harley, who didn't want to buy like something like a Softail or a Dyna, or who didn't want to buy a touring bike because they wanted that smaller platform. This bike, new, on paper, I believe, is $15,500. So we're talking $1,000 gets you a big 114 Street Bob versus this new Harley Sportster at $14,500. I don't know if that's worth it, guys. I mean, if you really want a Sportster, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a Sportster, and I think Harley came out of the gate way too hard on their pricing here, and I think it might be a tough sell. You know, this bike is kind of competing with like that Indian FTR, Bobber, and there's other manufacturers that make bikes in the same category. So like Honda's got the 1100. It's kind of competing in that market. I think the price is just far too high for, even with all the tech, for what you're getting. And I don't think I'm going to be the only person who thinks that. I think it's going to be a hard sell. Maybe when the used market starts to come in, but man, with today's markup on new bikes too, you're going to be paying like 16 G's for a Sportster, which seems insane to me. So that's the ugly, dudes. The good, you know, a lot of the tech is really cutting edge. The motor's cutting edge. It's going to be powerful, nimble. The bad, I don't like the way it looks. That's about it. The ugly is that price, and I think I'm concerned that Harley is going to kill this whole line with one bad mistake on pricing. But you know, what do you guys think? Do you disagree with me anywhere here? Do you agree with me? Do you think I missed something on anything, pricing or features related? What do you guys think? Are you gonna go get one? Do you want to at least ride it? I certainly want to ride it. As always, you know, drop a comment below, send me a message. A subscription would be great. A like would be fantastic. And you know, guys, ride safe. It's still summer. It's beautiful. Take it easy, dudes.